Molly-Mae said that we all have the same 24 hours in the day, and the internet went wild. I was umming and ahhing about filming this video because I think I'm about to disagree with 99.9% of the internet, and the people pleaser inside me is shaking.
Beyonce has the same 24 hours in a day that we do. You're given one life and it's down to you what you do with it. So I understand that obviously we all have different backgrounds and we're all raised in different ways and we do have different financial situations, but I think if you want something enough, you can achieve it, and it just depends to what lengths you want to go to get where you want to be in the future. And I'll go to any length. I've worked my absolute arse off to get where I am now.
Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're good, hope you're well. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Adella. On this channel, we like to have conversations. We like to think deep, openly, critically, and talk about hard stuff. Okay, let's break it down. So was Molly-Mae incorrect when she said that we all technically have the same 24 hours? If we're to take it literally, which I think was what she wanted when she said the word technically, yeah. If we were to take it literally, then technically her statement was true. Whether you're a trust fund baby or you're living in poverty, 60 seconds makes a minute, 60 minutes make an hour, 24 hours in a day. The earth spins on its axis the same way it does for me as it does for everyone else in the world, right? But obviously, if we peel back the layers and we add critical thinking, then no. 24 hours for someone like me, for example, who by no doing of my own happened to be born and raised in this country, in the United Kingdom, versus 24 hours for somebody, let's say, less fortunate, is not the same. In the 1800s, a guy named Robert Owens pushed for the 8-hour workday, and he coined the slogan, 8 hours work, 8 hours recreation, 8 hours play. That's the general rule of thumb that we try to live by here. It's like you work for 8 hours, you rest for 8 hours, you play for 8 hours. Realistically, not many of us stick to that split. But on either end of the extreme spectrum, I would say that that split for me is probably more forgiving than it is for somebody living a less fortunate life in a less fortunate place. What I mean by this is that even if I was severely overworked, stressed, working way more than 8 hours, working weekends and stuff like that, I'm lucky enough that I just so happen to have been born and raised in a country that has decent labor laws. It puts a cap on the amount of work I should legally be doing. And we have a minimum wage that is survivable. Whether or not it's good or not, it's like for someone like me, it would be survivable. So that means even if I was on that end of the spectrum, if I really, really wanted to hustle and grind to that degree, I could probably still make some decent headway on my dreams that sit outside of work. I might get a bit ill. I might even have a mental breakdown, but it's doable. And on the flip side of that, even if I fell on my face, I lost my job, I lost my savings, again, I still live in a country that, to a certain extent, has some sort of government aid. Plus, I happen to have been born into a family, a big family, meaning I have people that I can lean on, that I can run to in times of desperation. So again, given enough work, given enough grit, given enough willpower, I probably am better positioned to make it out of that struggle than other people. Compare that to someone who's living in a country where they have to work a 20-hour workday to barely make a livable wage, or someone born in a war-torn country, or even less extreme, someone born in this country but just happens to have been involved from birth in a series of unfortunate events that have nothing to do with them, nothing to do with their actions and their choices. For them, for a lot of people, more than I think we realize, simply grinding or working harder or willpower will never get them out of the poverty or the situation or the hardship that they're in. Or at least it will never, unfortunately, produce the same results that it would for someone in my position, for example. So then, if you're looking at it from that angle, which I suspect 99.9% of the internet have been looking at it from, then no, Molly-Mae was not correct in the statement that she made. She was very, very, very far from the truth. But here's one of the issues I have with what I've been seeing on the internet since the clip went viral. Don't we think that the response has been a little bit excessive? Like, that's a genuine, no, it's not a question. I think the response has been quite over the top. I can't lie. This was trending for 2 days. 2 days. Because I remember watching the interview, which I think came out a few weeks ago. So it's actually not even new, which is interesting in itself, but and I actually remember watching the whole thing, and then she got to that statement, and I remember hearing it, and I actually remember sort of like rolling my eyes. I was kind of thinking similar thoughts to what I've been seeing on the internet about like, okay, that statement's a bit like it doesn't really take into account a lot of things, and that was it. I've never really subscribed to the whole same 24 hours as Beyonce rhetoric anyway, which also is not new. That's a huge point, but I'll come to that a bit later. I think people's reaction to it has been so sensationalized. And you know what? There's something about this all happening in January, like the beginning of January, straight after I was reading tweets and posts about people's 2022 goals and it being about positive vibes only and good things happening only and spreading love and telling your loved ones and da-da-da. There's something about it happening now that I think makes it all the more like sinister and wild to me. And if in the rest of this video you're gonna choose to hear something that I'm not saying, then go back to the bits before this timestamp and hear what I'm saying. Don't hear what I'm not saying and don't take my words out of context, because that's kind of exactly why we're here and why I say a lot of the things that I say is because we have this habit of putting words in people's mouths that they didn't actually say. I've been seeing some tweets around this whole topic that say something along the lines of, Molly-Mae basically said, if you're in a wheelchair, just get up and walk. And I don't know if it's banter or what, but I'm like, you know she didn't say that, right? Like, I'm gonna assume that's a joke. Or I think people are being very intentionally obtuse. And I think the reason they're doing that is for a number of reasons. It could be they've had the worst 2 years of their life so far. So to be met with a statement that is so tone deaf can be annoying. It can be infuriating. So I get that. But also, if we're really being honest, it's because people don't like her. People either don't like her specifically. People maybe don't like influencers as a whole. People maybe don't like people that they feel, in their opinion, whatever the benchmark is, they feel that those people haven't quite earned the life that they live. However you break it down, I feel like it's a simple case of people disliking her. I would put a lot of money and bet that if Jay-Z or Oprah or maybe even Gary Vee had made a similar statement, they would not be met with the same amount of backlash. And maybe it's because we might see these people as having come from less privilege, or having worked harder than we deem Molly to have worked. But if we're saying that the statement is incorrect, then the statement should be incorrect regardless of who says it, right? Because even if Jay-Z had made a similar statement, would that not then still make him the exception and not the rule, and therefore the statement's still incorrect? You know what? Jay-Z probably has said it before, because this whole 24 hours in a day thing, this whole like, if you believe it, if you dream it, if you work hard enough, you can achieve it no matter where you come from. That whole rhetoric is not new. That's another thing that's baffling me, is it's almost like a response as though she's coined or made up this phrase. But were we not all shouting, we've all got the same 24 hours as Beyonce not long ago? Were we not also saying stuff like, oh, if Jay-Z can make time for Beyonce, you can make time for your girl? Like, we were saying these statements. People have said them before. They were tone deaf then and they're tone deaf now. But the response is as though this is the first time we've ever heard this. What I'm about to say might be the bit where most of the disagreement comes in, but what she said was not harmful. I'm not sorry. Let me stop apologizing for my opinion. What she said was not harmful. At most, it was hurtful. At most, it was very tone deaf, depending on the context of who's saying it and how they're saying it. The sort of dismissal that even if you come from a less privileged background, even if you have financial hardship, we can all make it to where we want to make it. And, you know, dismissal of privilege that may have come in getting her where she needs to be and attributing it to 100% hard work. It's tone deaf. It can be hurtful to people that are in those less fortunate positions, but it's not harmful. Other things she's done or said may have been harmful. Her business practices, her life decisions, the things she influences people to do, those things could be deemed as harmful, depending on how you look at it, as with any influencer. But harmful? That statement in itself, harmful? No. Now, if Boris Johnson was to make the exact same statement, I would say that's harmful, because this is somebody who is literally influencing and directing policy in this country. That's what makes it harmful. Her on a podcast, which, by the way, is a podcast called Diary of a CEO. That one is a point in itself. This is a podcast literally made for people who aspire to be like entrepreneurs and CEOs and business people. Its primary audience, I imagine, are people who, subscribe to like the 5 a.m. club and working hard and having side hustles and that sort of mentality. It would be different if she was, I don't know, on the set of Love Island, lounging by the pool, saying we all have the same 24 hours in a day, and she's like going out to an audience of sort of ITV reality TV viewers. That would be different. Or if she went into a school and she then gave the same speech, it would be very different. So I think we have to apply context to the situation that she was in at the time. Anyway, I anticipate that this video may get a few more dislikes than usual. And like I said, I almost didn't film it because disagreeing with 99.9% of the internet as a recovering people pleaser is not something I try to do often, but it's my opinion, so I'm putting it out there. And I can't lie, guys, I think the internet, I think social media, not even just with this situation, just in general, I think it's gone bonkers. I think we're going mad. We are becoming really bad vibes, and then God forbid the recipient of our hate does the unthinkable, and then the same people will start tweeting #BeKind only for the next person to make a mistake, and then we do the same thing all over again. If that's not the definition of insanity, then I don't know what is. I just think the punishment is not fitting the crime, if we can call it a crime. And we all better pray that the dumb stuff we do every day, because we are human and we're all capable of doing dumb stuff, we better just pray it doesn't ever surface on the internet. And if it does, you better then pray that the people receiving it are not lacking grace and critical thinking. This video, to be honest, is not really about Molly-Mae. I've seen 100 other things on this internet that follow the same argument, and I think it's absolutely wild. I've said it before, cancel culture, mob mentality, all of that to me on the internet is just absolutely trash, bottom barrel. But yeah, I've done a video on that, so check it out. I will link it here and I'll link it down below. As always, let me know what you think. Be nice. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.